All right, halftime in Sacktown. Not a good first quarter, but a really good second quarter against a Memphis team that's got two legitimate players on the floor. Kevin Huerter left the game early, 2 minutes in, and that didn't look good. We don't really have any further news, Ryan. But the Kings do lead by 10 at the half, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, and you can tell it affected the arena. It affected the team a little bit.
Yep.
These guys don't
Yep.
go down like that too often. So we're hoping Kevin's okay, and we'll keep our ears to the pavement for any updates.
Yeah, and anyone that thinks that, gee, well, the Kings are better off without Kevin Huerter, no, they're not.
Right.
Okay, I know there's
know.
been a lot of talk that he shouldn't start, but that doesn't mean that the Kings won't miss him. You got to remember now, if you miss Kevin Huerter and you don't have Trey Lyles for at least a foreseeable future, and you don't have Sasha Vezenkov, all of a sudden your biggest weapon is not your biggest weapon anymore. That's three-point shooting, and you can't ignore that.
No, you got to embrace physicality at that point. And if you're not going to have the players to shoot the quantity of threes and the threes the Kings want to get, you got to take the quantity down, which changes their entire balance.
Yeah. So, you can debate all you want whether he should be in the starting lineup based on his performance, and I'm fine with that debate. But I don't think you can really debate, gee, are the Kings better off without Kevin Huerter? No, they're not. Okay.
Well,
they're not.
Grant, the reason it's not a debate is because Kevin Huerter's not an option. If he is hurt, he's not available. It's different when Kevin Huerter's on the bench and it's like, okay, maybe we could throw him in if we need him. No, you don't even have him at all.
Very well said. Very well said. Jerry will not be with us tonight. He's got an obligation, so it's just us two. So we are happy that you are with us. Again, a good second half. There's just no way this game should be close. I know I've said that before, and then all of a sudden we're on the post-game show talking about either a close game or a loss. But there's just Jaren Jackson's really good. Desmond Bane's really good, but that's really all Memphis has.
It's all they have, and the Kings are scrambling. I mean, Grant, Memphis is playing guys the Kings probably don't have a ton of tape on, to be honest with you. But really what it comes down to is the three-pointers for Memphis. They are the worst three-point shooting team in the league. And in the first quarter, they shot 53%. It's now down to just a tad over 34, but the Kings got to keep that in check.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And, I should say, another good assist to turnover ratio in the first half. That's their signature.
Quietly, too. It didn't feel like the ball was moving that much, but at one point in the second quarter, 10 assists on 11 buckets. So when the ball moves that way, guys are going to get opportunities, which means, and here's the other thing, Grant, when the ball moves, the Kings get to the free throw line.
Yes. Well, you've been talking a lot about recently, particularly on this homestand. You feel the ball movement's been better, correct?
100% better. It slowed down a little bit in the Knicks game, but that was due to the defense. The Knicks are a great defensive team. But yeah, the ball movement is night and day with the combinations Mike Brown is playing right now.
All right. Any concerns other than the injury to Kevin Huerter that you saw in the first half?
Yeah, the Kings are fouling far too much. You shouldn't be fouling this team. And the dribble penetration, that as well. There is no reason that Mike Brown should not be pulling guys in and out strictly based off of freshness. Memphis does not have enough guys. Run them, pace.
All right, again, 57-47. The Kings lead at the break, and then they leave tomorrow for a 3-game trip: Toronto, Washington, and then Orlando. And after the Washington game, the Kings' schedule is very, very challenging. So these are, we talked about this the other night, Ryan. These 3 games, tonight, Toronto, and Washington, are must-win games. They are. They're just must-win.
Yeah, you're on record saying if they're going to get the 6th seed, they've got to get these 3, and I'm with you. So the first one starts tonight, and Grant, the Kings can't have a bad start to the second half again.
No, they cannot. And they really now are in a situation, and I don't want to speculate on Kevin Huerter's injury, but just based on the reaction and him not even being able to go to the line, I doubt he's going to be around, okay? So that means you are going on the road without, some key pieces. And again, I'm speculating. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be wrong. I'm just saying that's what I foresee. It may not hurt you in Toronto. It may not hurt you in Washington, but it's going to hurt you in Orlando, against Philly, against Dallas. So you got to hope that, he's not out that long.
You absolutely do. And you also got to turn and look to some of the guys that have been playing important minutes in Stockton, a successful Stockton team. And many times when these guys get their opportunities, you're talking about Kessler Edwards, Keon Ellis, they come in and they make an impact in one way or the other. And Grant, I'm looking right at that group right now.
Well, you're going to have to, Ryan, because that's why you have the G League, and that's why you have two-way players. You have two-way players for injuries in these type of situations. It's like the reserve squad in the NFL, right? It's like the practice squad. That's why you have it. There's a reason why you have those players as part of your organization.
Exactly right, Grant. I mean, in this case, because a two-way guy can't play in the playoffs, so if something happened to Kevin where he's not going to be available, you're thinking the Kings probably elevate somebody else unless somebody's on the free agent market.
All right. Again, 57-47. I got the Kings winning this game. I think they're going to have a 60-point second half. So I've got the Kings winning this game 117-101.
I don't think it's going to be 60, but I do think the Kings win. I think it's going to be 107-100.
So you think the game's going to get a little close?
I do.
Wow.
I think it's
Why
going to
is
be
that?
tug and pull. Desmond Bane's fresh. This is only his second game back off of an ankle injury. He's a great player. And Grant, here's the other thing. This Memphis team, because they're kind of undersized tonight without their full complement of players, it spreads the Kings out, which opens up the gaps, which can be troublesome for them, which is why the zone defense makes sense to me. How about you?
Yeah, I always try to analyze these games a couple different ways. First and foremost is who's got the better talent. The Kings obviously are a much more talented team with the injuries to Memphis. That's number one. Number two, I look at the importance of the game. Like, is this a game that the Kings can take lightly? Well, no, it's not. They know they have 16 games left. They're coming off a loss to the Knicks, and they understand that they're leaving tomorrow for a 3-game trip. So I don't expect any wandering of the minds in the second half. Like I don't think you're going to get the Kings like daydreaming or looking ahead. Those are some of the things that I look at. So I think that you'll have full attention to detail here in the third and fourth quarters, and that's why I think the Kings. I don't think this game will get close, Ryan. I think this game's going to get further apart.
Well, it's going to come down to what you talked about last game that didn't happen, shot making. And in the first half, the Kings really haven't done a ton of that tonight.
All right. Again, 57-47. Just a warning here. I'm looking at some of the messages, and I'm not even going to tell you. All right. Enough of the nonsense. Okay. You're warned. All right. I'm not even going to read them. I'm just telling you right now. If I see one more message that is not pertinent to the game, you're gone from the channel. So you decide what you're going to do, and we will go from there. But I'm not dealing with it. Okay. We're not dealing with it. We got big games. These are all important games, and we've got really big shows coming up. So it's up to you. You either want to be part of the channel or you don't. But I will be the person that makes the final decision. So just leaving it there. All right. Again, 57-47 at the half. And I want to go back and talk about this, Ryan. You made a very good point, about some of the guys that are on two ways and stuff. That's fine and dandy. But if you lose any of your frontline players the rest of the way right now without Kevin Huerter and without Trey Lyles, you're in deep trouble. I don't care whether you're playing Toronto, Washington, or you're playing the Knicks or the Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
You are absolutely right. Who did Mike Brown turn to when Kevin Huerter got hurt? Alex Len. And Alex Len's had a good impact on this team in the first half, but they are extremely thin on that front line. Spot on, Grant.
All right. The Kings and the Grizzlies will be back, of course, right after the game. We'll have the post-game show and your calls. And Ryan, we also now will take text messages, correct?
Yes, we will. Pay attention to that link. We'll tweet out the text message number. And Grant, you can leave a voicemail. If the voicemails are good and you make it better, they might end up on the show. They might end up on our podcast. Who knows?
Like that.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah,
kind of fun.
All good. The Warriors are playing the Knicks tonight, and they are leading the Warriors at the break in San Francisco, 62-56. The Lakers are leading the Hawks, and they're up by double digits in the second. I talked about this a little bit earlier on my show, and that has to do with the Clippers. They're they're having some issues right now. They've lost 4 or 5 games.
Yes, the Clippers are having some issues, and it doesn't come at the greatest time for them. Can a team maybe get in there? I don't know. We talked about it the other night, but the Clippers aren't alone. How about the Lakers and the Rockets, Grant? 3 games is doable.
It's doable, but that's a lot.
It is a
There's
lot.
not. It's a lot because there are a lot of games left. There aren't a lot of games left, so it is. That's significant. It's not insurmountable, but when you only have 15 games left and there's a 3-game separation, that's quite a bit. But for the
Well,
Kings, I said this earlier, Ryan. I went over the schedules on my show. The Mavs
mhm.
have a very easy schedule compared to
Cupcake.
the Kings and the Suns.
Yes, so much easier. The Kings stretch you already mentioned, but the Mavs down the stretch, they only have, I want to say, like a couple games that are a little bit like maybe they'll get tested, but otherwise they should win out. But Dallas is always that wild card. The games they should win, sometimes they struggle down the stretch. Look at last year.
Yeah, well, very true. Look at last year. You're exactly right. I would say this: that win that the Mavs had yesterday on Kyrie Irving's floater across the lane against Denver, that's a difference making type of a shot, and it really can be. I mean,
Yeah.
that was huge for them. You know?
Yeah. To do that to the defending champs and to have just Luca and Kyrie on the same page, feel like it's
Yeah,
both of their teams. That's a
yeah.
huge thing for that unit.
All right. Again, coming up at halftime or after the game, we will be right with you. It's 57-47. Hope you all enjoy the second half. The Kings, I think, and we'll be lighting the beam coming up
I
in a
think
little
so.
more than an hour. And then the Kings have that long trip to Toronto tomorrow and get ready for the Raptors, the Wizards, and the Magic all coming up. All right. Thank you very much. Talk to you after the game right here on If You Don't